So just pick this up with, Monaco, just cut that part. Let's just do this fucking thing over. So let me know if you have any questions. I know that was kind of confusing. Anyway, thanks, buddy.
The hand of the day.
What's up, guys? It's Alec Torelli. Welcome back to the hand of the day from Laguna Beach, California. Today's hand comes from an awesome episode. Awesome because I won, but awesome because it was also a great game. At Live at the Bike, we're playing 25-50. It's high stakes night. Game happens once a month. They just started this episode. I've been playing on there a lot recently. Some awesome fun hands, and I got a lot of you guys asking me about this one specifically. But first off, I want to address. Actually, we'll address it later. Forget that. So let's go straight into the hand. 25-50 blinds. Israeli Ron, who you've seen me play some hands with in previous hand of the day episodes where he got the best of me, opens to 125 mid position. I'm in the cutoff, or I'm on the button with ace-6 of spades, and I make it 450. Israeli Ron and I are really deep, like 300 big blinds deep, and this is a great spot for me to 3-bet. I definitely want to 3-bet the button. I don't want Bryce to 3-bet in the small blind, and I also don't want Jeremiah. I mean, I'm okay with Jeremiah calling in the big blind, but playing this pot heads up in position is just really, really strong, especially with my hand, which plays well post-flop. So I definitely want to isolate here, put a lot of pressure on Israeli Ron, make up for getting smashed the last time as well. But aside from that, it's a great hand to 3-bet. I make it 450, which is a big size, but we're deep, so that's okay. And Bryce now cold calls in the small blind with 2 10s. So let's talk a minute about Bryce's hand. I mean, Bryce calling here is okay. He also wants probably Israeli Ron to stay in the hand, and making sure I'm not getting soaked by water. It's harder for him to play the hand out of position against me if he 4-bets, because I'm gonna play pretty well against a 4-bet, and 10s is like a pretty tough hand to play, because it's not really great. He doesn't really want to get it in, but at the same time, it's almost too strong to fold. So it's really one of those hands that's right in the middle of your range, which is really, really tough to play. I actually made a video about a spot like this in this exact same hand where I walk you through all the math and exactly how to play these tough spots out of position in a new program I created called the Quick Start Guide to Preflop Play. You can check it out at the end of this video in the description, and I give a lot more insight into things that I just don't have time to talk about in these videos about exactly how to play spots like these. But for now, I would say it's okay for Bryce to call, it's okay for Bryce to 4-bet, and then depending on my tendencies and what he thinks, he could fold if I shove, or maybe call it off if he thinks I'm going to be shoving too loose. I'm okay with him calling, keeping Israeli in the pot, but he has Israeli Ron in the pot, but he has to know it's going to be a tough spot to go out of position against me, who kind of knows what he has. His hand's a little bit face up. So he decides to call. Israeli Ron calls as well, and we go 3 ways to the flop. Flop comes 9-7 deuce with 2 spades. Great flop for me, great flop for Bryce as well. Bryce checks, which is totally fine. Israeli Ron checks. It's on me, and I bet 800 into 1400. This is a spot where I think betting small is to my advantage. I'm repping big overpairs when I bet this board, and I also have to be cognizant of Bryce, who's likely to have a strong range as well. So I'm not repping that many hands that are c-betting here, and if I'm c-betting 100% of my bluffs pre-flop, I'm going to c-bet 100% of the flop, I'm going to be bluffing way too often. So I need to choose a small sizing here. Also because betting any amount on the flop is going to allow me to get all the money in on the river against Bryce. So I don't really need to bet 1,200 or 1,000. I could bet something like even between 600 and 800, and it'll accomplish the same thing. It gives me a better price on my bluffs, and it makes it really tough for the opponents to play against me when my range is really balanced, right? So Bryce is going to fold anything that's not an overpair on this board, and he's going to call with all his overpairs. So my bet sizing doesn't change how he's going to react. And once he calls, Israeli Ron is kind of handcuffed and can only continue with either sets or monster draws. So there's no reason to bet big here. I bet 800, Bryce calls, and at this point, I pretty much know what Bryce has, right? He either has a big flush draw, which is really hard to have because I have the ace of spades. So at this point, it's extremely likely he has either a set of 9s, which is pretty rare, or 10s through queens, or maybe kings or aces if he was getting tricky pre-flop. But most likely he has 10s through queens, and that's just face up. That's what he has. Israeli Ron folds, and I know pretty much exactly where I'm at in this hand, and we go heads up to the turn. Turn's an 8 of spades. which is a great card for me. I make the nut flush, obviously, and it's also a card that gives tens or jacks more equity, right? Now those hands have straight draws, and if he has a spade in his hand, he has a flush draw. So it's likely he's going to continue here on the turn, especially because he might even call me with like 2 red queens, and not fold, right? Or 2 red tens or whatever, like whatever he has. So he checks. I bet 15-50, which is about half the pot, and my goal here is to put those hands into a tough spot. There's not that many hands that I should be bluffing here with, because I'm not betting the flop with that many hands that are offsuit with 1 overcard. I shouldn't be betting the flop here with like ace queen with 1 spade. I think it's just a little bit too loose. So there's not that many hands that I'm going to be having in my range that contain 1 spade in them, unless I had something like 10-8 offsuit with a spade that I bet the flop with, which I'm probably not 3-betting pre-flop with. So you can see by using a process of elimination, which I call a range funnel, you could really understand a lot more even what you have or what your opponent has by using this process called a range funnel. And it's really valuable to understand that, hey, if hands cannot be in your range pre-flop, then they also can't be in your range on the flop or on the turn or even on the river. So using that process, you can see that my range here is pretty damn narrow. I either have bluffs that I was kind of getting out of line with on the flop, which maybe continue on the turn, like if I have ace queen with a spade. Otherwise, I have the nut flush, or I have sets, or I have a straight. So I don't really need to bet that big because my range is so much stronger than Bryce's when I bet here twice that it's just a really tough spot for him to play. So I bet half the pot, and this also allows me to shove on the river as well. So I don't need to bet any bigger because, like I said, on the flop, any bet sizing is going to allow me to get all the money in on the river. So I bet 15-50. Bryce now calls, and at this point I'm thinking he probably has an overpair with a straight draw or a spade. I think he's going to be folding some of his overpairs here on the turn. Maybe he's going to fold like, I don't know, jacks with 2 red jacks. He might fold that if he's playing tight, which he was losing in this session, so I expect him to be calling on this turn a little more often than he otherwise would or that he should. But his range is pretty damn tight on the turn, and he probably has overpairs with a spade at the very, very worst. So great spot for me. I'm looking to win a lot of money. The river comes an offsuit jack. And now this is probably another good card for me as well. It doesn't make him a flush if he had 2 overs with a spade, but the only hand that he has that now he's probably going to fold the river with is something like queens or kings. I think kings he probably always 4-bets pre-flop. Aces he definitely 4-bets pre-flop. And so queens is really the only hand he's going to fold. I think jacks is probably going to call because he has top set. Tens now has a straight, and if he had somehow had a different flush like king jack of spades, he's obviously going to call with that too. So there's really not that many hands he's folding here on this river, which is a great spot for me because I have the friggin' nuts, right? So he checks, I go all in, and he snap calls, beats me in the pot. And the announcers were a little hard on him. Some of the people that asked me about this hand and sent it to me were a little tough on him, like why would he snap call here? Well, you got to realize that tens is pretty much the absolute best hand he can have. He also has the 10 of spades, which blocks me having a flush. So tens is like a very trivial call here because he even beats hands or chops with hands. I'm going to shove with a 10 as well, so he's chopping some of the time. He beats some of my bluffs if I can have those, and he beats some of the times that maybe I'm value betting with like a set of 9s or something like that. So I mean, tens is a very clear call, especially with the 10 of spades, which blocks the possibility of me having a flush. And he also has 2 10s, which makes it a little less likely I have a straight as well, so maybe he's actually winning. So this is a very clear call. I think a set of jacks is a lot tougher spot for Bryce, and that's a hand that is really on the border of whether he should call or fold, depending on, you know, my bluffing frequency and all that stuff. Queens or kings or aces, he could definitely let go here, I think, but I think tens is a clear call, and anything better than tens is a clear call as well. So really unlucky spot for Bryce. I think he got absolutely coolered here, given how he played the hand. Given that he decided to call pre-flop, the rest of the hand played itself. He got absolutely... So at the end of this hand, you see Bryce take a chip off the table and put it in his pocket. I got some people asking me, hey, did he steal money from you? What the heck is going on? He didn't steal money. I appreciate everybody looking out, but it was just a $1 chip, and he just took it off the table, put it in his pocket. So I just wanted to clear that up because I got a ton of people asking, and I know I'll get some feedback in the comments about that. But that's it for the hand of the day. If you like this, subscribe to my channel. Putting out a lot of new content soon. I appreciate you guys watching. You guys are the best. If you like this style of content and some of the conceptual based learning, some of the ways that I use hand range funnel to figure out exactly what my opponents have, or some of the pre-flop things I talked about for how to play these hands in more complex situations, check out my products page. I mean, alectrelli.com/products. It's really my best content that I put out to the world that I just don't have time to share in videos, and it's reserved for my more advanced players. So I highly encourage you guys to check that out if you really want to up your game and take it to that next level. Hope you enjoyed this stuff, and I'll see you guys soon for the hand of the day. Cheers.